Hey guys, how are you today? Quick rant before we dive into today's chaos. As some of you might have noticed, YouTube's algorithm has decided I'm not special anymore. Shocking, I know. So now if you don't like, comment, or do a little backflip in the algorithm's honor, this video might just vanish into the void, never to be seen again. Seriously though, even a hi or "this is wild" in the comments helps way more than you think. It tells YouTube, hey, people actually like this channel. Maybe don't hide it from everyone. That can really help push my videos out to a wider audience, not just to my subscribers. So if you enjoy these stories and want to support the channel, that's the best way to do it. Now grab a drink, get comfy, and enjoy the drama. You won't want to miss this one.
Dad plus me equals tenuous relationship. Mistress plus me equals, hi, how you doing? Good, you? Good type relationship. My dad, 60, had his mistress, 30, before my mama, 60, got sick. He continued to see her when we found out, and he's still with her when mama passed. It was a downhill battle. She was in so much pain every day, and he never visited once. Dad refused to divorce mama because of financial reasons, but ultimately, he'd lose more than he'd gain by signing the papers. Yes, he's always been a selfish man. I, 25, took care of Mama and stayed at the hospital longer than I could remember, but I didn't care. I wanted to be with her, and I never wanted her to be lonely, not even for a second. I met his mistress a handful of times, and admittedly, I behaved childishly by pretending she's a clump of cantankerous cells. Sorry, I'm still a bitter bee. Dad's been trying harder to me in my life after years of being a part-time parent. Dinners, lunches, breakfasts, or family gatherings are nothing but a courtesy to my relatives. If I could, I would have gone no contact with both. I resent the mistress, but I resent my dad on a whole new level. Dad's been hinting about having a relationship as a family, and I didn't notice their play angle until I found out that mistress was pregnant with their second child. Nothing against the innocent child, but I'm not interested in any relationship with anyone related to mistress. They hinted at me about wanting to move into my guest bedroom of my boyfriend's 37 house. Everything above occurred before quarantine. Now, they're desperate for the room that I've already declined. I'm not sure what happened to their apartment, but I got the sense that they were aiming for my boyfriend's generosity of paying for some baby products and maybe months of free housing. Bless his soul when he refused to let strangers into his home. He met Dad twice, never met mistress. 3 weeks ago, mistress lost the baby. Circumstances a bit fuzzy, so no one knows the full details. I may be resting bee-faced in her eyes, but I never wished any harm to come to them, especially the baby. When Dad reached out again to ask about the guest room and put me on the spot with speakers on to listen to mistress sob about the hardship of losing her baby, they're struggling emotionally and financially, and they need help. I give her my condolences on her traumatic loss and that I can lend them some money to get back on their feet, but I will not let them step foot inside a place that is untainted by this emotional damage between the three of us. I'm not willing to let them intrude on my life more than they already have. My boyfriend left the decision to me. He doesn't want to get involved in family drama. They have other people that can help them. They don't need me. Am I the idiot? Maybe I'm the bitter idiot blinded by resentment. Not the idiot. It's absolutely not your problem. How can a 60-plus-year-old man who avoided a divorce be that hard up? I don't buy it, but if it's true, it's his own irresponsible nature. It's not like you wished harm on them, but you definitely do not have to be there for your father when he was never there for you or your mother. It doesn't matter that they were separated. He does not deserve any kind of sympathy from you, and good on you for saying no. It is sad that the mistress lost her baby, but their own downfalls and struggles are not your own, nor should they be made into your own by your father. He's a grown man who should be able to make a plan for living arrangements. My mother-in-law has informed me that my husband's ex-girlfriend will be coming to Christmas Eve dinner, and that I should just get used to the idea because that's how it is. The girl has been an issue in our relationship since day one. A bit of backstory. A few years before I met my husband, she dated him. Their relationship ended when she made some absolutely disgusting and potentially life-ruining allegations against him. He was arrested. She had history with one of the officers, so he made it personal. taken to the police station, had charges held against him, and was interrogated. He hadn't done anything that she said he had, so of course he eventually managed to get everything dropped. Shortly after we got together, she then started DMing me on Facebook, trying to drive a wedge between us to split us up. When she was blocked, I received messages from random people for months bad-mouthing my husband. Fast forward 2 years, and we find out that his parents have been allowing her to come to the property and help them with their horses. And we find out she has been playing the sympathy card to work her way into the family. I then tried to play nice and at least tolerate having her around for the sake of peace in the family, even though I know how much it gets under my husband's skin that she is around. I finally gave up being nice when she flat out ignored me at the local show when I was preparing the horses to be led out. It has now been 5 years since this all started. Now she is living on the in-laws' property and makes herself at home in the main farmhouse, while she has her own fully self-contained unit that she pays to rent. Year before last Christmas, I was the bad guy because I made it quite apparent that I did not believe she belonged at the family dinner table on Christmas Eve or at present opening the next morning. Am I the idiot for not being nice about this girl being present in our lives? End note. My brother and sister-in-law also have issue with this girl being around, as she tried to get with brother-in-law first and ducked with his head before she went after my husband. But bringing up any of this with the parents brings the family into an enormous nuclear fight. Apparently, I'm trying to tear the family apart because I don't want to stand for her being included in what is supposed to be a family occasion. Edit. We, husband and I, have on many occasions made our stance on having her around very clear, and every time it ends with us getting either kicked off the property or told that they can be friends with whoever they want. The argument over this Christmas was had between my husband and myself, and he made it clear that if we did bring it up or choose to stay away, quote, if we stop her from seeing her grandson at Christmas, she will cut us off from the family. He has always stood against his parents and defended me when needed, so it's no shortfall on his side. He has given up fighting them over it because he doesn't want to lose his parents. Edit number 2. If I say I want to spend Christmas away from here, I'm apparently keeping the grandchild away from his grandmother and am using that as a weapon against her, and she will cut us off from the family. When it has nothing to do with our son. I just don't want my family to be around lying homewreckers. This whole situation is exhausting, and I've voiced so many times how over it I am, but unfortunately, there's nothing we can do until the issue resolves itself. I'm just hoping she poops the bed a few too many times, metaphorically speaking, and ends up getting kicked out. Edit number 3. Inviting the in-laws to ours is difficult because we live over an hour away and don't have anywhere for them to stay at our house. The farmhouse is big, and people that travel can stay. That's why everything is generally held there. I've reached the point where I'm just going to have to be present, silent, and retire to our room with our kid as soon as possible. I don't want our toddler around the ex. She doesn't deserve that privilege. The whole situation just sucks. Not the idiot. What the hell? Have Christmas Eve with your brother-in-law and sister-in-law and spare everyone the issue of having to deal with her. You and your husband need to have a frank conversation. This is insanely unhealthy for y'all, and the ex needs to be cut out of your lives 100%. If his parents are willing to choose her over their own son, daughter-in-law, and grandchild, then they don't deserve to be in your lives at all. My advice? Don't go to Christmas Eve dinner. Make it clear why you aren't coming. If they choose the ex, well, that's on them. You are not the reason he won't have contact with his parents. They are. They are actively choosing the person who hurt their son over him. Many years ago, I met my now husband while studying abroad. We instantly clicked and had a very happy 3 years together. We broke up when I decided I wanted to go back to my home country, and he wasn't willing to move as he inherited the family business. It was horrible, and we both felt like we had lost the love of our life. Back home, I told myself I was over him and eventually started dating again. He did the same. We had zero contact for about 5 years. Then, after a heart-to-heart with myself, I realized that I wasn't over him, and I could never forgive myself if I didn't at least try to reconcile. I sought out his Facebook, which was pretty blank, and messaged him. I told him I still loved him and would like to try again. He told me that he was in a relationship, and we left it at that. 3 months later, he messaged me, saying that my message made him realize that he wanted me and no one else. He had broken up with his ex, so he was free to reconcile if I still wanted to. Long story short, we've been married for 3 years and have a little daughter. Now, on to the problem. His ex never came to terms with the fact that they split. Ever since I got back to his, now our, town, she's been talking crap about me, telling everyone that I'm a homewrecker, a W, you name it. My husband has tried to get her to stop many times. I have apologized to her for how things went, but she won't stop. We live in a small rural town, so gossip spreads. It hasn't been easy at times, but we reached our breaking point when our daughter started kindy with the ex's niece, and suddenly kids started calling our daughter horrible names that they no doubt heard from ex-girlfriend, because no kid would ever come up with something like this themselves. My husband and I filed a civil suit for defamation against me, but we were hoping that any kind of action would make her stop. Well, we won. Ex-girlfriend's employer heard about it, again, small town, and let her go, and now she's having a hard time finding work again. I'm starting to feel like an idiot, because half the town seems to think that by taking away her love, I had done enough damage, and I didn't need to ruin her like this. But at the same time, I feel like enough is enough, and we and our daughter shouldn't be punished for loving each other. Not the idiot. It was unfortunate for the ex, but had they been solid, you coming back into your husband's life wouldn't have affected their relationship. He didn't cheat, but broke things off with her before contacting you. The fact that there were still feelings after a 5-year period of no contact shows how strong the attachment was between you. And after 3 years of marriage, ex still isn't over it? Ex ruined her own life, not you. She crossed that big red line when she involved your child, so I can't see how else you were supposed to handle it. You didn't ruin her life. She tried to ruin yours, and your child's, and you put a stop to it. She willingly told lies about you. She encouraged harassment of a child. She chose to make, proven by court, defamatory comments about you. Her employer chose to terminate her for her actions. You did nothing here except protect yourself and your child. If any of these small-town asshats criticize you, it's so unfortunate we gave her so many chances to stop lying and defaming my character, if only she hadn't chosen to continue to do so. I, 19 female Native American, do beadwork as a hobby, side hustle, and have since I was 14. I'm not the greatest ever, but my stuff is decent enough that I make a pretty good amount of extra money from it. My older brother's 26 male, fiancé, 35 female, is a nightmare. My whole family does their best to be respectful of her and of their relationship, but she treated us like a unique oddity because of our culture, and when that fascination wore off, she began to treat us like we were uncivilized and dumb. I argue with her a lot, and I was certain she hated my guts. Until a few days ago when she came to me with a gift card that had $150 in it. She was being pure sweet to me and said she was sorry for getting off on the wrong foot. I said it was okay, I understood, but wished she'd be more respectful of us. Then she started talking about her plans for a Native American wedding with my brother. I was annoyed and knew it was going to be disrespectful as duck, but I didn't say anything. I just talked to my bro later. Then she asked how much I charge for the earrings I make. I told her $35. She tried to barter with me, and when I told her I was firm on my price, she got mad but was quiet. After a bit, she said, "Okay, could you make a pair for me and my bridesmaids and maids of honor? 12 pairs by November? I could do $400 for them." I never take orders because I hate being rushed, so I told her I'd have to think about it. She left all angry. About an hour later, my bro came into my room and was getting mad at me. He said his fiancée already paid for the earrings, and why couldn't I just give them a family discount in exchange for being in their wedding? I told him no, she didn't pay. She gave me a gift. He asked for it back, and I told him no. She didn't say it was for earrings. An argument ensued between my bro, his girl, and I that ended with her telling me I wasn't allowed to come to their wedding and wouldn't be allowed to see my nephew, niece if they had kids. I said, "Cool, alright, I don't like you anyway, and never wanted to be in your wedding, and that they weren't getting the money back." Then, she had the audacity to go into my room and start looking around for the money. I told her to get out, and she started insulting me and my beadwork. I asked her where that hatred for my work was when she was trying to buy from me. She said it was to be nice because I don't get sales. I informed her that I did in fact get plenty of sales and didn't have to rely on trashy, tacky Karens to buy from me. She called me R and cried hard and played victim. She called me a fat bee. So I said that as fat as I am, I'm glad I'm not built like a barrel on sticks with the big A head and hog body she has. My brother is now threatening to disown me if I don't apologize and make the earrings. I know I was argumentative, but I felt so disrespected. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. She can't hate you and treat you badly and then expect you to make her stuff for her wedding. Then she can't give you a deal and then get mad when you consider it. She needs to understand that you aren't a big business and can't take huge orders. Your sister-in-law seems awful, but you should return the gift card to avoid getting down to her level. Edit. I decided to take the higher path here. I apologized to my future sister-in-law and my brother and gave the money back, and I explained to my future sister-in-law that beadwork means a lot to me, and I have a very hard time with taking orders, but that I would love to make her a pair for her wedding for free, but I just couldn't do 11 other pairs. She was extremely quiet and sat with a grimace on her face the whole time we all spoke, and I could tell it wasn't good enough for her, but she never said anything. My brother and I cried it out afterwards when we spoke alone, and he said he didn't want to choose between her and his family because he cares about her. I told him I understood and wouldn't make him make that choice and would try harder to get along with her. I asked him why he's been distancing himself from his culture and from speaking our language together, and he said it was because it makes her feel uncomfortable. I told him that I know our culture means a lot to him and that he shouldn't have to put that aside for her and that he shouldn't allow her to get away with disrespecting his family and culture just because he loves her. He got quiet, and I could tell that I made him think about things. Well, as I suspected, it wasn't enough for my future sister-in-law, Karen. She and my brother argued all last night because she was trying to convince him to take my beading supplies to make me do the pairs for the wedding. She started insulting my family and me and threw a big fit when he stood up to her. Currently where we stand is that she is bawling her eyes out on our porch, and my brother doesn't know how the wedding is going to go or if it's happening at all. Before we met, my fiancée Kayla was engaged to a man she had dated for 3 years who died in a traffic accident. I had never dated a woman who had that kind of loss before, so I've been learning as I go, but I've tried to respect that he will always be a part of her story, and I accepted her relationship with her late fiancé's parents with open arms. They stayed very close, and by the time we started dating, they were basically like a second set of parents to her. Kayla's real parents and her late fiancé's parents are all amazing people, so I consider myself pretty lucky to have 2 sets of great in-laws. Our wedding is coming up in May, and Kayla told me that after her father and daughter dance, she would like to have a second dance with her late fiancé's father to the song Vanilla Twilight. She asked me if I was comfortable with that, and I didn't want to be that guy and say no, so I said yes. But really, it makes me uncomfortable that she would be dancing to a love song dedicated to another man at our wedding. I am happy to make space in our lives for his memory. A photo of him is on our mantle at home. We make it a point to commemorate his birthday, the anniversary of his death, and I feel like I am understanding and supportive when she has bad days. I am 100% fine with having his parents at the wedding because, like I said, we are all a family. But I also feel like our wedding is one day that is all about our relationship. Am I the idiot if I ask her to reconsider this dance? What are the best compromises here? Not the idiot. But do any of y'all actually know this song? It's weirdly upbeat, but the lyrics are very, very intelligible and are definitely weird in the context of dancing with the dead ex's dad after getting married to another dude. It's one thing to miss your ex, but I wouldn't want this sentiment being publicly proclaimed by my wife at my wedding if I were in the OP's shoes. Update. 2 months ago, I married the love of my life. A little anticlimactically, the thing I was stressing about was a bit of a miscommunication, which probably happens a lot here. Kayla wanted to dance with her late fiancé's, I'll go ahead and just call him Luke from now on, father at our wedding. and Vanilla Twilight was an example of a song along the lines of what she wanted, not the set-in-stone top choice like I had thought. I, and a lot of commenters in the original thread, spent a lot of time overanalyzing the lyrics for that song, looking for hidden meaning in every word. While it turns out she hadn't put much more thought into the suggestion than, "This is a kind of sad song that I like." We got together that night and she had made several playlists of possible first dance songs for us. Songs for when she walks down the aisle, music to play at the reception, and song choices for her dance with Luke's father. We spent hours listening to them all and talking about the wedding. We even made a tournament-style bracket for our first dance song in her journal and put songs head-to-head against each other until the victor emerged. And at the end, we talked about the wedding and our relationship, Luke and their relationship, and grief, what it was like when she lost him, and what it was like for me when I lost my mom at a young age, what a family is, and all the things we're hopeful for the future. We stayed up until 3 in the morning, just talking and planning and laughing and crying a little, and I'm so glad for it. After getting bombarded by dozens of different opinions from dozens of different people earlier that day, I had been worried that I was going to have a conflict with my fiancé shortly before our wedding. But there was no conflict, just a pure memory. After that night, I started putting in more effort to be involved with the wedding planning process and actually ask for the things I wanted, which Kayla actually really appreciated. We also took a long weekend a couple of weeks before the wedding to go on a camping trip together for just the two of us, which I highly recommend to anyone who is getting married. Overall, there was a complete flip-flop in my feelings leading up to the wedding, from being somewhat insecure and excited but nervous, to being completely at ease, excited, and feeling stronger about my relationship than ever. The wedding day itself was really wonderful and worth the wait. Kayla and Luke's father had their dance, To Lean on Me, and I also had a dance with Kayla's mom, and it was very emotional, in a good way. I really felt that the day was a celebration of our love, and I was genuinely happy that Luke's parents were there to celebrate along with us, because they are very much members of our family, and I wish I had the space to describe all the ways they've been there for us through the years. My amazing wife is who she is because of all the experiences that she has had in her life, and I don't want to be the kind of man who asks her to pretend that she has never loved before me, or pretend that her grief is something that is or should be done with forever now that she has me. I just want to say how glad I am that we shared that night together and that the wedding was nothing but love and celebration. I never thought I could be so happy. My children are 17 and 14 respectively, and I'm hoping the fact that they're teenagers is the reason for their incredibly crappy behavior. My husband, before he met me, had a wife and a newborn baby that passed away in Canada due to hazardous road conditions that resulted in a 4-car smash-up. No one was at fault. It was a horrific disaster, and my husband was devastated as a result and fell into alcoholism to cope. I had my own trauma from the past, and similarly turned to alcoholism to cope. It was at an AA meeting where we met, 20 years ago almost to the day, and we slowly started to heal together here in the US. I have always been incredibly respectful of my husband's last wife and child. I like to joke that I'm keeping her seat warm until my husband enters heaven. I've had too much loss and hurt in my life to feel jealousy like this, and to be honest, I am so damaged that I just feel lucky that I got to actually feel love in this world and that my husband could open his beautiful heart to me. We had 2 children, 2 sons. We'd never told them about my husband's wife or baby because it's a part of my husband's life that he keeps under lock and key. He has never healed from his grief, and therapy, etc., has helped him only to a degree. My mother-in-law told the kids this Sunday gone, as she decided it was time for them to know. She didn't consult us before telling them, and certainly didn't do it in our presence. Since then, my sons have been making the most disgusting dead baby jokes. They've been prodding their dad, asking why he never told them, and instead of approaching the topic with respect, they're acting like we've kept a secret family affair from them or something. My 14-year-old went on to say to me in private, thank goodness not in front of his father, that he was glad my husband's previous family was dead. I broke and yelled at him and told him it was the most disgusting thing I've ever heard him say. I asked where his anger was coming from, and he burst forth that we were crappy parents for keeping secrets. He told me that it made so much sense why we were abnormal, why we don't drink, why we are so boring and quiet, why my husband is panicky around roads, etc. The two are pretty much heartbroken, and I feel like we have just destroyed a part of our children's life as a result of us staying quiet. I am hurting. My husband is grieving all over again, and I don't know how to proceed. I have and will always reiterate to our kids that they are loved, but this behavior seems so overreactive for the news. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, but your mother-in-law is for thinking she gets to decide when to tell them. Also, your children have a right to be upset, but that behavior is intolerable. This mother-in-law is toxic. Why parentify these kids with this kind of information? It's difficult to process for adults, let alone teenagers. I'm sure mother-in-law is feeding some more poison in their ears about how their parents held this secret for so long and didn't want them to know, etc., to elicit such a terrible reaction from their kids. So, I got into Cornell last week. Honestly, I think it was a fluke. I'm not smart, at all. I got a 28 ACT, a decent GPA because my school grade inflates considerably. I had some decent extracurriculars, but nothing remotely competitive enough to get me to a school like Cornell. But anyways, my twin sister is the opposite of me. She's a genius. She has way more impressive stats, 34 ACT, and she only took it once, compared to my 3 times. She has way better grades, way cooler extracurriculars. Everyone always looked up to her as the smart one. I didn't and still don't mind. It's true. The only reason I can fathom I got in and she didn't is that she applied to the engineering college while I applied to the arts and sciences. I don't know if too many of you guys are familiar with Cornell, but they have a bunch of different colleges you can apply to, each with their different admissions criteria. Well, last week, decisions for Ivies came out. Unfortunately for my sister, she didn't get into a single one, including her first choice, Cornell. She checked as soon as it was available and called me bawling. I consoled her and told her everything was going to be okay, that who cares what school you go to, that she was brilliant and she was going to be successful no matter where she goes. Well, anyways, I pretty much resolved that I was getting rejected, so I didn't even bother to look at my email until later that night. Well, I guess surprises do happen sometimes, because I'm a Cornellian. I got in. I just don't know how, but I did. I really want to go, guys, but this would devastate my sister. All week, she's been crying and solemn and sad. She's been angry at all her friends who got into top schools, especially the ones with lower stats. She's decided to go to NYU, but she just hasn't been herself. I haven't told our parents. I think they assume I didn't get in because she didn't. Am I being selfish? Should I just go with her to NYC? We always thought we were going to school together, but it's Cornell. I couldn't in a million years imagine I'd get in. I've been researching obsessively about it, and I can't shake the desire that if I don't go, I'll regret it. Ithaca looks beautiful. It's a small town, which I would love to get away with from the huge city that is New York. It seems like a dream opportunity. Am I being a bad sister? I know she would be upset. We were supposed to go to school together. It would crush her. I really don't have anyone else to talk to. Am I the idiot for going to her dream school, especially considering how much harder she's worked than me? Not the idiot. Do not turn down an opportunity just to spare her feelings. You will likely wind up being resentful and thinking of what might have been. Seriously, congrats. It sucks she didn't get in, but that is not your fault. You did. You earned it. Enjoy. So I decided to tell my sister. Well, she started screaming from excitement and got, not actually, mad that how couldn't I tell her earlier, and she's so proud of me. But seconds later, her excitement just turned to sadness. We went from super giddy to depressed in seconds, and she started bawling, uncontrollably bawling. I tried to comfort her, but she pushed me away and locked herself in her room. I'm going to give her some alone time right now, and we can talk more about it later. Update 2. So my sister sent me a text. It said, "I'm sorry for how I reacted. Please don't be mad. I'm so happy for you and your accomplishments. It's just that after I got rejected, I at least had the consolation that I get to go to school with you and we can be together. But now you're going to be where I wanted to be, and I'm just so sad. I worked so hard and did everything I could to go to the best school I can, and I just feel like all my hard work was just wasted effort. I'm sorry I'm ranting. I just need more time." I'm not going to lie, guys. When I read this, I cried. A lot of you are saying that obviously I have to have attributes that made me desirable, but I really don't. I don't deserve my acceptance. I did my homework between classes, barely studied for anything, took the easiest AP classes available, etc. Meanwhile, I see my sister always taking the hardest classes, studying as hard as she can, always volunteering. She deserves it, not me, and seeing her so hurt pains me. I'm really strongly just considering going to NYU with her. Everyone at Cornell will just be like her, and I don't stand a chance. And I know that if I go to Cornell, we're going to drift apart, which would suck, because we're best friends, and I just don't want to lose my sister. Update 3. So I told my parents, and they did not react how I would have expected them to. First, they tried to insist that Cornell made a mistake between our applications, which would be impossible. If we applied to the same school within Cornell, like we both applied to arts and sciences, then it would be somewhat probable. But we applied to different schools with different admissions committees. They couldn't have mixed them up. Then they went on to explain how I should go to NYU with my sister. I thought it was strange, because they definitely would have supported my sister going to Cornell if I didn't get in. My sister apparently thought so too, because she asked why would I not go to Cornell? And they said how it was unfair that I basically slacked off in high school and was able to go, when my sister was the hardworking one who busted her butt all of school. I don't know if I'm being dramatic, but that hurt. I knew they always thought my sister was the smarter one. They've made it clear multiple times. But to hear them say that I don't deserve my spot sucks, even though they're probably right. I stood there in silence, but my sister stood up for me. She asked them how could they say something so cruel to their daughter, that I 100% have every right to be there, and that they should apologize for being so rude. My parents were shocked, because we're both very passive people, and neither of us ever talked to them like that before. This started an argument, and long story short, we're currently in our rooms. I'm just so thankful to have her stand up for me. I realize that I have internalized a lot of the comments they've made over the years. I'm glad I have my sister, who actually believes in me. I still don't know if I want to go to NYU or Cornell, mostly because I just don't want to go to school without her. She's my best friend, and going 4 years without someone who just thinks so positively about you just seems so long. At the end of the day, I always thought that NYU was going to be the school I was going to, so I wouldn't lose much by choosing it over Cornell. I'm going to talk about it more with my sister and look into both schools more. Okay, a few new thoughts here. Your sister is awesome, but it's understandable she would have feelings about this and be emotional. She will be fine. Give it time. However, your parents are idiots. You will not lose your sister going to different colleges. You will likely become more apart even at the same college. That's just part of growing up. That's fine. You can stay best friends at different schools. The big worry going to the same school is frankly over-reliance on each other, to the detriment of expanding your social circle and meeting new people. It's really easy to just rely on that one bedrock person and not put yourself out there, and that would be doing you and your college experiences a disservice. You're right, it is unlikely a mistake was made given how application at Cornell works. More than anything else, you have to stop being so damn down on yourself. You got into a great school on your own merits. It was not a fluke. They saw something in you that they liked and wanted at their school. This is an achievement. You are not going to be non-competitive there. Stop devaluing yourself, seriously. So later that day, my parents actually came to me and apologized for everything. I know everyone really hated them, but my parents are really cool people. They have flaws, but all humans do. It's not like they spent their free time brutalizing me. They knew I was smart and even encouraged me to apply to schools like Cornell. They just automatically assumed my sister would get in, especially versus me, which if you look at our scores, I can't say they should be blamed. Nevertheless, they realized that they were being jerks and they apologized for making me feel like I'm not as capable as my sister. That they were shocked, but it was no excuse for what they said or how they made me feel, and they love me and apologized for what they said. Anyways, for the moment you've all been waiting for, I decided that I want to go to Cornell. It was such a tough choice and wasn't made without serious consideration, but ultimately, I'll be happier in Ithaca. Plus, my sister is going to try to transfer after our freshman year. If she still wants to go, she may find that she loves NYU after all that time. Whatever she decides, I have no doubt she will be extremely successful. Plus, it'll be good to spend some time apart from each other and grow as people. NYC is only a short bus ride away, so we can definitely see each other during holidays and breaks.